Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrea Morris, the Director of the Family Support Center and Advocacy here at the ARC of Greater Haverhill-Newburyport, and I'm a registered voter in Ipswich, Massachusetts. I want to thank a few people today for making this happen. The DDS Merrimack Valley Citizens Advisory Board, Mary Kay Merrimack, Jennifer Perlich, Louise Bork, Lawrence Dedman, and the co-chair, Joyce LaBelle, who helped plan this important event. A special thank you to Bridget Crowley, my colleague, who helped us pull together the stories we are hearing today. And thank you to our amazing staff at the ARC of Greater Haverhill-Newburyport for being here today and helping wherever possible. I also want to thank the legislators and those who work in their offices who took time out of their busy schedules to be here with us today. Legislators and your staff, please stand up if you are able so we can honor and recognize your commitment. Come on, don't be shy. Thank you. We are a community. Please raise your hand if you work at a provider agency. Nice and high. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you are a direct care professional. Whoa, big thank you. Please raise your hand if you are a family member. Please raise your hand if you are a community member and ally. Last but not least, please raise your hand if you are a person with a disability who is proud to be here. Now, I want you to look around the room and look at this amazing community. It truly takes a village. So look around. This is amazing. Today we're going to hear inspiring stories and learn about what each of us can do to support our most vulnerable citizens. It is now my pleasure to introduce my co-MC, Mr. James Keith. This is the closest I have ever come to someone famous. James.
Hello everyone, my name is James Keith. I am 27 years old and I live in North Danvers, Massachusetts, and I'm a registered voter. I am a multi-sport Special Olympics athlete and on the board of Special Olympics Massachusetts and an ambassador for Best Buddies. Here's a couple of fun facts about me. I starred alongside Woody Harrelson in the hit movie Champions. My superpower is making people laugh and smile, and I actually volunteer at the Perfect Blend Cafe, which provided the delicious food we are enjoying today. I am very capable here at Northern Essex campus. When I was a top student, I was a Macy's student, so I started taking classes here at Northern Essex. This program helped me a lot with college life and getting accommodations. So far, I have taken 9 credit classes here. I also participated in another program here at Northern Essex called Project Search, where I was able to try out a variety of interns here around the campus. Now that I've graduated from these programs, I participate in Community Works, where I volunteer in the program and work with a job coach. My job coach helped me apply to many different jobs I've had and the job that I currently work at the YMCA as an assistant swim instructor. I'm also working on some personal goals: to get my driver's license, to take more classes to help bump up my GPA, and to take acting lessons to prepare for Champions 2, which starts filming in 2026. All of these programs and experiences are the building blocks to the person I am today. I have benefited immensely from all of these great programs. I love to chat more during the reception if you have any questions. I'm so thankful for my experiences, my training, and all of the support I've had throughout the years. It has made me more independent, which also is a great benefit to my family. We're very lucky to have all the staff who work with me at these wonderful programs. Finally, I would like to give a shout out to Opportunity Works and the Public Blend Cafe for catering here today, and for Art, who provided the beautiful artwork. And a special thank you to all the legislators here today. Now I would like to introduce Mara Sullivan, CEO of the Arc of Massachusetts.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. There are some seats if you want to come in. I love standing room only, though. It's so empowering. So I'm so happy to be here with you all today, especially during these unfathomable times. It's better to be together, and I'm really proud of this community. So thank you again for being here. It's fortifying when we can come together with people who care so deeply about individuals with disabilities and their family members. When I look around the room, I just see this is community grassroots mobilization at its best. So thank you again. And I am Mara Sullivan. I'm the CEO of the Arc of Massachusetts, and I have been in my role for exactly 5 months. I am not gonna lie, it has been like drinking from a fire hose. But I will tell you that I have never felt more purpose in my life. And as a parent of 2 children with disabilities, I'm so proud to lead the Arc of Massachusetts. I have incredible passion and a real sense of urgency to protect and safeguard our rights. I know you're all with me. So before we jump into the agenda, I just wanted to remind people, if they don't know who the Arc of Massachusetts is. So we are the leading advocacy organization for people with autism and intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. And we represent and advocate for over 250,000 people in Massachusetts. It's more than that. That's the families and the individuals. But we know the community is even bigger. It's everyone who's here today. But we need every single one of those voices. And you're going to hear me say this over and over, and I've been saying it across the state. Everyone needs to be an advocate. Everyone. That means you need to connect your family, your friends, and your networks to our issues. And we'll get closer and closer to that 250,000 number crushing down on the State House and reaching out to our congressional delegation as well. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. I'm really grateful to see that we have some lawmakers and staff here today. We need you more than ever. Please, if you take anything away today, take our priorities and make them your priorities. There's a lot of priorities in front of you at the State House right now, but we really need you. And I want to thank the Arc of Greater Haverhill and Newburyport for putting this together as well. So let me jump into my slides before I keep going on and on. The Arc, as you can tell, is on high alert. If you've been following us, we are ready. We are facing something we've never faced before: multiple simultaneous attacks on and executive orders and other things you see coming in day to day, and the dismantling of long-standing, really critical systems. What are we doing about that? We're providing education and empowerment. We're actually reaching hundreds of people every week to get them empowered, educated, and ready to advocate. We're working on, we've always had really strong relationships at the State House. We're well-respected and trusted resource. We need to keep growing those strong relationships at every branch of the government, and now working very, very closely with Congress. We're launching something you may have all seen. Yesterday was an interesting day if people were affected by the Social Security glitch. But the ARC has started a portal that we really want people to take a look at, fill it out, and share it with their networks. We need this portal to reach as many people in our community as possible. We're looking at it as a way to track any harm, any threats, any loss of services that might come through this federal threat that's coming at us day to day. So you'll see that. We'll be pushing it out. Yesterday there was a blip with Social Security and it came in incredibly handy. People were able to upload screenshots that said that their loved one on their rep payee form was no longer receiving benefits. We were able to reach out to congressional delegation, to the ARC of the United States, and luckily that glitch was fixed and people are back on track. But it's so important that we track these things so we can be strategic in our advocacy. So we're focused, we're trying to stay really narrowly focused on the workforce, you'll hear more about that today, and on Medicaid. But we also have our bill platform, so I'm gonna try to talk a little bit about that too. But I know what's so important to all of you today is the workforce. We have still a significant shortage of direct support professionals and clinical staff in our programs across the state. And what does that mean? We're looking at 2,400 adults who are waiting for services. This is unacceptable. We have 750 people who have not had services since the pandemic. And we have another 1,400 people who have been turning 22 and are graduating into adult services and have nothing to go to. This comes down to the workforce. We need to increase the rates. We have in the governor's budget this year $207 million in the rate reserve, the Chapter 257 rate reserve. This is not going to budge our rates. We need to increase that funding in order to get the rates up to just $22 an hour. So we really want to see closer to a living wage here in Massachusetts. Now, $100 million is a lot of money in a tight budget, I understand. But you'll see how the workforce is tied to every other service and program for people with disabilities. So we really need you to think hard about how we can get that funding. So if you remember, last year we had a good bump up in our funding from the governor, and the legislature approved it, and it allowed us to increase the rates of pay by a couple of dollars and get them closer to $20 an hour. When we did that, we saw that our recruitment got better, we brought more people into the field, and we reduced that waiting list by about 1,000. So that's significant. We need to continue that momentum. So you'll see our workforce ask this year is, we're right in the middle. We want to get it to the 75th percentile, which would give us close to $24 or $25 an hour. We know right now with all of the pressures on the state, we want to be reasonable, but we still need additional funds. So we're looking at the 63rd percentile, which brings us up to that $22 an hour. So you also see a bill that we'll file, and that will be more of a long-term strategy to keep getting the rates up. But for now, $22 an hour, that 63rd percentile, is the $100 million in Chapter 257. And I really like this, this graphic because it helps people understand why everything comes back to the workforce. So when we don't have enough workforce, our programs that are funded by the governor and by the legislature don't get enough people back into the programs because there's not enough staff. When they don't get enough people back into the programs, they don't use all the funding. when they don't use all the funding doesn't come to us the next year. And they say, you didn't need it. But the reality is, we need it. We need it for these programs to stay strong, and it's a real vicious cycle. So we've got to fund the workforce. We've got to continue to fund these programs so they don't fall behind. And it all comes back to that. So hopefully that helps make sense around when you hear that there were 11% cuts in turning 22, when I just told you that we have thousands of people waiting to be served, or they're underserved. Okay, so shifting gears a little, I want to talk for a minute about Medicaid. I didn't mean to scare anybody in the beginning, but we are very, very focused on these cuts that can be coming at the state. And we really want to be strong. We want to strengthen our policy here in Massachusetts and have everyone aware of what cuts in Medicaid mean to our community. So we know that we're already in a crisis around home and community-based care because of the workforce. But cuts to Medicaid will severely impact those home and community-based services. We'll see longer wait lists. We'll see more financial and caregiving burden to families. For providers, it will exacerbate their struggles with the workforce and maybe even result in some closures of programs. So we don't want to see that shift towards institutional care. We don't want to see the quality of life for anybody go down. So when you see our fact sheets about Medicaid, when you see our action center, that's where we need you to take action. We need you to really step up and talk about Medicaid. We have 175,000 people who need long-term support services that are funded under Medicaid Mass Health. 50% of the funding for all of our adult waivers are part of Medicaid funds. So all of those programs that our adults are participating in are desperate for that funding. The Mass Health, as you know, and DayHab, of course, they're 100% funded by Medicaid. So as you can see, all of our important and critical programs rely on Medicaid. Medicaid is not going away, but we're going to have to deal with the reality of reduced funds. What we know, I probably should have put what we know on the block grants. We don't know for sure how the changes are going to come down. They're figuring that out in Washington right now. Whether we'll get block grants or a cap on the amount of money that the federal government gives us. We know that we need to inform and educate and advocate for our services and supports to not be affected. So I know there's some contingency planning now with DDS and Mass Health, and they're looking at how are we going to do this, what if it comes down this way or that way. But our job is to keep reaching out to our legislators and our congressional delegation to tell them how important these services are and to tell them your stories. Whether you're a professional or a parent or an individual with a disability, your story matters so much. So again, lawmakers have to hear us. We need to strengthen our policies in Massachusetts now to fortify against any cuts coming down. And, you know, I was at another legislative breakfast, and I heard from some lawmakers that, you know, hey, this is going to be a tough budget. And I hear that. I also want to remind you that we, the ARC, and our community have many important pieces of legislation that don't have cost to them, that can strengthen and fortify our community. We need to train our police better, our healthcare providers. We need to have policies like supported decision making. There's a lot of work that can be done that will continue to strengthen us. But we need you. We need you, and we need all of you to respond to every action alert that you see come from the ARC, even if you think you already responded. The budget process is a long process with multiple steps, and we'll be sending you out multiple action alerts. So stay tuned for those, and build those relationships with your lawmakers. Start telling them your stories. Tell them about the people you support, and work with their staff. It's going to be critical that they understand. So I heard both of you started with being a registered voter. Thank you for saying that. It's so critical. If you don't know who your legislators are, go to the ARC site, go to masslegislature.gov. That's a wonderful site to learn. And you can find out who they are. Now, there's been a little, new people and some redistricting, so you might not know, or they may have changed. So check that out. Definitely get familiar with the Action Center at the ARC of the United States. We are relying on them. We're sending you their action alerts for any federal issues. And stay really closely connected to the ARC of Massachusetts. Get onto our social media, our newsletters. We have events coming up. Autism Advocacy Day is Tuesday. If you haven't registered, come and join us. Great. And we're also going to be planning a rally, so stay tuned for that. A nice big rally on Beacon Hill at the end of May. We need to be heard and seen. And I will end with just telling you, I didn't mention what the ARC's mission is, because I know everyone knows what it is. It's inclusion, right? It comes down to inclusion. Inclusion is one of those words that the administration here wants to delete. But I want to say that we are not deleting that word. It is critical that inclusion stays our main focus. We actually can't move forward without inclusion. So thank you so much for being here today, and reach out anytime.
Wow, so much to talk about today. But the words I heard were inclusion, vulnerability, and the ask. So again, we're going to be asking throughout the day for your support and for your continued commitment to this disability community. I'd like to introduce our first story, Mary Kay Merrimack, who's going to be sharing her story.
Hi, my name is Mary Kay Merrimack. I'm a registered voter in Andover and the proud parent of 3 adult children. Jen, who is in the back and may have registered you, and Will and Jeff, who are identical twins, age 31, who still live with us in our family home. When people said double trouble about twins, they weren't kidding. Will and Jeff have profound autism. That means that they have limited communication skills, an intellectual disability, and behaviors that threaten their safety. They're handsome buggers, but they cannot read, they struggle to count, and perform activities of daily living. They're Energizer bunnies who never sleep. Keeping Will and Jeff safe is a challenge. Will is a Houdini who has an uncanny ability to escape. I've lost Will on the beach at Cape Cod, and play places, airports, on mountaintops, and at the zoo. He wears a shoe tag with a QR code in case this happens, but frankly, that's not a lot of help in the moment. He has extreme trouble tolerating certain fabrics and clothing. Jeff, meanwhile, is usually singing a make-up chant that lets him repeat the words he hears to try to understand them. His anxiety sometimes leads him to pick and pull at his skin until it bleeds, or to eat non-food items like wadded up bits of paper, screws, or nails, which is a condition called pica. We got to know the police early on and the poison control centers. I have watched my boys step in front of cars more times than I can count. We have to keep them busy or they get into trouble. Sorry. Adult autism is a long trail. After individuals transition from school years to the adult services world, there are fewer structured opportunities. When your loved one is a square peg in a round hole, you search for a unique path up the mountain, one with the fewest rocks and roots to trip them. What made a difference for us is physical activity. We thrashed around trying to find what sparked the boys' interest. When by accident we hiked up a mile in a park, everything changed. They were mesmerized by the view. They slept like they hadn't in years and paid attention at school. The teachers asked us what new medication we started. So we doubled down. Each weekend we'd walk longer and harder, often with strategically timed M&M breaks. Gradually, the hike itself was the reward. My son said, "Yes, I can," with every boot step, just like they did across Franconia Ridge in this picture. Yet sometimes it all falls apart. We are no strangers to emergency rooms. We've had a dozen caregivers quit with no notice or not show up for work at all. Some interpret the boys' actions as bad behavior, totally not understanding that sensory aversions and all manner of their quirks are part of their disability. We've been kicked out of events, accused of indecency, had doctors and dentists march us right out the door because they were different. One day, I got to the point that I myself had to say the words that I taught my sons to say when they struggled. I need help. And you know what? Our legislators answered me. When I needed help, the supports you funded were there to keep Will and Jeff safe and healthy, and to allow us to work, pay our bills, pay the therapy bills, and be half sane. Supports like the DESE-DDS program to keep profoundly impacted individuals from institutional settings. Like community-based day services programs, or called CBDSs, which are split funded by DDS and Mass Health. They get individuals out into the community where they belong. Our son's CBDS at Opportunity Works provides a 1-on-4 staffing model instead of the 1-on-7 paid by Medicaid funds that are funneled to Mass Health. The supports also include self-directed programming, which we do 2 days a week. My sons walk over 100 miles a month, focused and practicing safety and purchasing skills. This Monday, they walked 8.1 miles alone. My supports also include DDS in-home staffing to keep the boys safe at home, which is paid 50% by the federal Medicaid waiver. Also, Mass Health funds the boys' transportation to and from their day program and personal care attendant hours, so that other people beside mom and dad can help them to generalize important skills like showering. In the old days, Will and Jeff would have been in an institution. Today, they are using your supports to give back to their community. On Monday and Friday, they bag food at stocked shelves at 2 different food pantries. On Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at their day program, they carried the food that they bagged on Mondays straight to residents' doorsteps. On Friday, they shelve books and DVDs at the public library's children's room. They sing in a special needs choir. Jeff is a painter and a member of the Op Art group whose artwork is on your program. He and I run a sideline business where Jeff paints sheds, fences, and mailboxes and interiors. Before the pandemic, he worked at a local bakery, greasing cake pans with a paintbrush. The boys are the heart of Autism Hikes, a group that we founded after Will and Jeff became one of very few autistic individuals to hike all 48 4,000-foot peaks in New Hampshire, in Maine and Vermont, and well beyond that. We have over 500 members and guide safe, supported nature walks that help individuals make friends and provide a fun activity for anyone like my guys who benefits immensely when they move. Today, we are seeing dark clouds looming over the horizon. Again, I have to say to you, I need help, your help. We have a workforce crisis going on. Pay rates cannot keep up with market rates. If I can't hire staff, I can't keep Will and Jeff safe, period. And neither can the service providers in this room. We ask a lot of direct support professionals. We need to pay them so they can at least pay their bills and feed their families and make their role into the fulfilling career that it is so they can stay. It took me 4 years to fill an in-home position that had been vacant by a superstar who left because she needed better pay. I've spent nearly a year trying to hire a vacant personal care assistant position because Mass Health caps it at $19.50 an hour when people can make the same at Aldi and Starbucks without sometimes unsavory personal care tasks. I still haven't hired that role. When my caregivers quit, it takes a toll. Most of the times I cover for a staff in the daytime and do my paying work at 4 a.m. with little to no sleep. Thank heavens for caffeine, but still it can only take you so far. I have a great team in place, but when they're stretched, I worry that I'm going to burn them out. I asked a lot of everyone last summer when my 92-year-old mother fell and I had to make 6 trips to Pennsylvania and live out of state for 3 months caring for her. I prayed every day, that my staff would come through so my husband could work. That doesn't even begin to address the crisis we face if Medicaid waivers are adjusted or Medicaid block grants are enacted. Beside the workforce crisis, medical staffs need to be trained in dealing with autistic individuals. You think they would be by now, but often the bigger teaching institutions are the worst offenders. Police especially need to be trained and aware of autism, lest they see my son's unresponsiveness and react with a gun. Lastly, while no legislation has been filed this year to address residential housing supports, they are a looming crisis. Only 12 to 15% of individuals with autism who are eligible for residential housing supports get them. Innovative pilot programs to provide in-home supports instead of far more costly group home placements have been canceled due to, guess what, the workforce crisis. I'm 66 years old, and I won't be around forever to take care of Will and Jeff. I need them to be in supported housing that works for them, where they can move and serve, or there'll be a bad news headline waiting to happen. So I urge you to look at this picture. See Will and Jeff atop Mount Musalaki completing a challenge walk for Club 262, where they walked 262 miles in 2 months. Then look at your handout for the specific workforce bills in front of you. See Will and Jeff's faces in there as you debate. See how far they have come, thanks to you. Keep them climbing higher. Your path is strewn with boulders, I know, just like ours. But there's always a way. There is always a path to the summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Kay. That was so moving. I've seen the slides, but to hear it in action, unbelievable. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Margot Druitt, who will be sharing her own personal story today.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea, and everyone. My name is Margot Druitt. I've lived in Haverhill for 57 years. I'm a good writer, I'm an awesome speller, and a great listener. I like making phone calls, I love writing letters, I love cats, and I sponsor 5 cats. Since I've lived at my group home, I feel more at home than I did when I grew up. I also go to a day program. I love the staff and my job. I feed the horses and help in the kitchen. I love going to my program, Encompass. I'm also a member of peer support in the ARC. They are like my family. They help me stay strong. I've been in my group home for 10 years. Staff like Mary, Sanel, Francini, Nadez, and Jessica make me feel better. They help me learn how to cook and how to be more independent. We go on walks for churches. My staff at my program teach us how to do my chores and help us out at my house. Good staff treat me with respect and dignity, even though I do something wrong. I don't like when good staff leave. Please support Bill, House Docket 2827, Senate Docket 2773 to uplift the direct care workforce. Please remember me and my friends depend on programs and staff who help us lives and strive forward. Thank you for your support.
I do have to share a quick story because I can. We were on our way into the State House for the Boston Legislative Reception, and I was in a van with Margot and a lot of our team and individuals. And I had mentioned how I was having a tough time, contacting a specific congressperson, just venting, just talking. And she's like, oh yeah? She picks up her phone in real time, calls them, and you might be here today and we'll talk offline, calls them up and then hands me the phone. I was not prepared, but what an amazing advocacy moment in real time. So pick up the phone. Margot is an amazing phone caller. So if you need someone to make phone calls, Margot's your girl. Thank you, Margot. Next up, I want to introduce Beth Corcoran.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming here today. I wanted to begin my introduction by reading a short story written by Lauren Isley. This story summarizes for me why I am here, and I hope why you are here. It's called The Starfish. One day, a man was walking along the beach when he noticed a boy picking up and gently throwing things in the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "Young man, what are you doing?" The boy replied, "Throwing starfish back in the ocean. The surf is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." The man laughed to himself and said, "Do you realize there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish? You can't make any difference." After listening politely, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the surf. Then, smiling at the man, he said, "I made a difference to that one." My name is Beth Corcoran, and I want to tell you about my son, my starfish, Joey. Joey is a 24-year-old young man who is supported by DDS and Mass Health. In addition to severe autism, Joey heroically deals with a plethora of medical maladies, including epilepsy, GI dysfunction. He has a G-tube, a J-tube, and ileostomy. He has a central line in his chest for him to get IV nutrition, medication, and hydration. He has connective tissue dysfunction, immune deficiency, oxygen and CPAP dependent at night. I could fill my allotted time just completing the list, but you get the idea. For this, he is supported by nurses in our home through Community Case Management, or CCM, which is through Mass Health, Medicaid. Joey is an absolute light in our lives. He has taught me so much about how to be a kinder, more patient, and empathetic person. The value of his life can't be quantified. Before some major struggles with his health, Joey was brightening days in the community by collecting recycling cans, stamping cards that he would sell with the proceeds being donated to local charities, collecting food for local food pantries and a church that made meals for people who benefited from that support. He also enjoyed going to the gym, attending a dance class, an art class, and attending a music class online. These contributions are big ones. They connected him on many levels to the community in which we live. They also require a lot of support from very skilled professionals. We were so lucky to have one such professional, Brittany, for many years. She had worked with Joey before he was 22 in his home program funded by the school district and stayed with us after he aged beyond 22. Brittany worked tirelessly. She was always thinking and creating new ways to promote Joey's independence. She knew how smart and capable Joey was and knew just how and how much she could push him. Each day was different. She was always ready to shift gears, giving Joey full access to the clutch. Our gratitude for Brittany cannot be overstated. She is a gifted teacher. It was a devastating loss when she shared, with tears in her eyes, that she could no longer stay in the position with Joey. The pay we were able to offer simply did not support the cost of living in the area, and she had to move out of state. Along with his profound medical issues, Joey also has intensive communication and behavior needs that must be addressed. It is critically important to understand just how much skill is necessary to facilitate a successful program with someone like Joey. We need to hire professionals who have the skills of a teacher, a behaviorist, an occupational therapist, and a speech therapist, all in one. I've always been horrified at the thought that I should have to offer a rate of pay that is nowhere near commensurate with all these skills. Since Brittany left, I have been unable to find anyone to take her place. I have tried. I have networked. I have interviewed. I've consistently gotten the feedback from appropriate candidates that they were not able to take the position due to the pay. This is a problem that has got to be addressed. By supporting programs like DDS and Community Case Management through Medicaid, both of which are supremely central to my son's life, you will be throwing many, many starfish back into that ocean. And to them, it will make a huge difference. I hope to meet you on that beach.
thank you so much. I love it, the starfish, all of it. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And finally, our final story today, we have Allison Watt sharing her story.
Hi, I'm Allison Watt, and I'm a registered voter in Amesbury. This is my family, my husband Steve and daughter Alexa. Alexa just turned 33 years old. She has profound autism, which requires a lot of skilled behavioral support. She loves music and lives for a good sing-along party with family and friends, especially at Christmas. We've been working with DDS for many years on finding a better way to support someone with significant needs to stay in their own community. Alexa loves living at home with us, but she needs a one-to-one at all times for health and safety reasons. She does not do well in traditional programming, so we have been doing self-direction for several years, which requires Steve and I to give up income to manage. Whoever works with Alexa must be skilled at seeing behavior as communication. It takes trained, knowledgeable people to hang in there during challenging times, figure out what is wrong, and how to steer things back towards stability. Our belief that every person should live in the least restrictive setting is what keeps us going. 2 years ago, we began to develop a new plan for Alexa's care to meet her unique living needs. This includes state and federal funding from DDS and Mass Health's PCA program. We were met with many obstacles along the way. Now we have a safe space, but are working to find the right people to be part of our team. Part-time pay, no benefits. But the reason I wanted to come this morning and tell you our story is to say thank you. Thank you to the DDS Merrimack Valley office for your willingness to think outside of the box and for your interest in supporting a different model that serves someone with intense needs in their own community. Is Mary Ann here? She's my case manager, and I don't know if she made it. Yes, she is. Mary Ann, you are our family's rock, and I wouldn't be here without your encouragement. So. I also want to thank Brendan from Representative Dawn Shan's office. Is Brendan here? Yes, he is. Hi, Brendan. On 2 occasions, I called her office and Brendan answered my calls. Both times, he met our story with compassion, knowledge, and a willingness to help in whatever way he could. His kindness was like a breath of fresh air when we were struggling. Dennis from Senator Feingold's office also answered my call, listened, and expressed understanding and compassion. Both Brendan and Dennis took the time to learn about the complications of this kind of support and made calls on our family's behalf. Without question, they made a difference. I want to end by asking you to keep listening to families who carry the worry of their loved one's care on their aging shoulders every day and every night. Keep us top of mind as you discuss budget issues and laws that would better protect the most vulnerable people in our state simply because it is the right thing to do. So often, we in the disability world feel powerless. But with you taking an active interest, with you offering your voice of support, we can change that to powerful. Thank you.
ladies are amazing. Thank you. Thank you all for our speakers for being here and sharing your stories. We need to keep hearing your stories. That's what you're hearing today. There's no small story, no large story. Get your stories out there however you can do it. Here's the ask and the call to action, piggybacking off of what Maura had spoke about. To our legislators and aides in the room, we need your budget support. Every day I talk to Maura, I'm like, where are we pivoting today? Where are we pivoting? Right now, it's the budget ask. These are the 3 budget asks we're putting on the table today for you guys to support. So I'm gonna give you guys a moment to look at that and make note of it for those that are in the room. People with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism, are our most vulnerable citizens. We have many vulnerable citizens in our country, but these are the most vulnerable. So keep that in mind as you choose, what bills and what budget line items you're going to pass. Again, as Maura had said, and you've seen it here today, we encourage everyone in this room to become an advocate. Engagement is critical now. I get phone calls almost every day as a family support center director saying, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I say, breathe. Be where you are, connect with the people around you, and keep sharing your story. We are here for you as allies, as provider agencies, as legislators, as a community, for all of you. Look around the room again and see who's in this room. We are a community. Share your story, connect with each other. We do have many ways for you to get involved, as Maura said, so we're looking for you guys to help us take action. And this is a picture of us at the State House about exactly a month ago. This is our staff and our individuals, again, advocating at the State House. And on Sunday, myself and Maura and a few other amazing people will be going to the DC to advocate for federal funding as well. So again, we need your stories. Now I'm going to hand it back over to James Keith, who's going to close out our program.
Hello, everyone, again. I'd like to remind you all to check out the QR codes on the back of your packet. You can find out who your specific legislator is and also fill out the important survey. Please take a moment to do so that we can get your input. Thank you all once again for coming to our legislative breakfast.
And that concludes our program today. As James had mentioned, on the back of your programs, you should have some nice little QR codes. Yep, thank you. And then we also have them posted if you didn't get a program because, we didn't anticipate this much of a turnout, so thank you. We expected 75 people, so let's give each other a round of applause for that. So again, we are here. We have this space for the next hour, so stay, mingle, connect, listen. Thank you so much. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I did not know this was happening.
Hi. Want to stand up? We wanted to thank both Andrea and Joyce for the work that they did putting this amazing event together. So we have a small token of our gratitude. Would you mind? And that really concludes our program. So thank you.
I know. So get up, mingle, connect.